Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Just Sports with John. Today I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about the NFL, a little bit about the NBA, and also Wimbledon, the Olympics, and comments and subscribing. So let's start with the NFL. Tom Brady. So Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay, and he is not going to have his number at first because that actually belongs to another player, Chris Godwin, who was an all-star last year. So a little bit of complication there, but of course it's Tom Brady. So, you know, I figured like everybody else, he's pretty much going to get his number. The only question was, what's he going to have to do for it? Or what's he going to have to give up? But apparently Chris Godwin decided, he's the GOAT. Why not go ahead and give him his number? So as far as we know, there wasn't anything that Chris Godwin demanded from Tom Brady or whatnot, but you can bet that Tom Brady's going to be looking his way quite a bit this year. So I expect a huge year in fantasy from Godwin, big year from Brady as well too, and pretty much for the Bucs organization as a whole. So Tom Brady's going to still be TB12, and Godwin's actually going to wear the number 14. There's been a few players that have worn 14 for the Buccaneers, but nobody of real significance. Some people like I think Vinny Testaverde, uh, I think Fitzpatrick I think had 14. So there was a couple names, but Chris Godwin could still make a name for himself with the number 14. So that'll be nice. They'll have that going, and then also I think Brady keeping 12. Being able to keep his brand, and especially down there in the Tampa area with people health fitness and all that. So all things will be good there. And well, I think we'll see great connections with those guys if they can get to mini camp and training camp with all this going on. So we'll see about that. The other thing I want to talk about is the new playoff format. So, in case you haven't heard, the NFL's been looking at changing up the playoff format a bit because of the whole wanting to do 17 game schedule and that kind of thing. So, what they've come up with is to basically add in an extra playoff game. Part of what this means is that the way the current playoff format worked is you'd have two teams like on a bye, and then the four other teams fighting for the spots and so forth. But now what you're going to have is only one team is going to be a playoff bye for either conference. So the AFC side will have one playoff team with a bye week, and then the NFC will have one team with a bye week, and then you'll have like 3 wild cards on the weekend, and so forth. So I think it'd be pretty interesting. I mean, teams like, I think last year if they would have done this, the Steelers would have been in, and the Rams would have been in, and both those teams were fairly competitive. Steelers were really interesting because they were getting healthy toward the end of the year. So who knows? I mean, Steelers have done it before where they've come in like a 6 seed and have beaten people. So who's to say? So this will definitely make things interesting. I think I kind of like it. I mean, the owners should like it. The players, who get to the playoffs, there's more, revenue there for them because they're playing the playoff games. So, it seems like it's a pretty good compromise. So we'll see what happens. I think they're also taking away one preseason game, if I remember correctly. So I think we're only going to have 3. I'll have to check in on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember seeing. And that's, of course, if everything starts up in time. Otherwise, we'll see. And speaking of things on time, the NFL is obviously pushing forward with the NFL draft, despite some of the GMs not feeling good about this. So, it's kind of interesting to see like the GMs say, "Hey, don't do this right now," but yet the NFL's like, look, we can modify it, we can make it do this and that, so it's not, people infected and whatnot. And I mean, players aren't going to be there in the traditional NFL draft the way we've seen it. It's not going to be that way. So, is it going to be harder on GMs? Sure, but I mean, gotta adapt, right? So gotta make it happen. And as somebody who wants to get kind of in that sports realm, like, yeah, I think it would be tough, but I think it's doable. It's just gonna, the short notice of it all, and trying to get everything in line for setting us up differently. Not having as many players there at one time to scout and ask questions and interview and all that. That's gonna be really tough, but it can be done. Owners may have to spend a little bit more trying to, rent out a whole hotel floor or something like that. So, but it'll get done. It'll get through. I'm kind of curious to see how they'll film this whole thing and how that will be, putting this product out there to the fans. Will be intriguing to see how they do that with maybe like FaceTimes and whatnot. So that'll be curious to see how that takes place. But the NFL draft to go on, and I think it's a good thing. We all need something right now, and I think the NFL is definitely trying to give us that. So I can't blame them there. Of course, it's money motivated in some aspects too, but hey, it's either that or nothing, right? So wouldn't you rather have something? I would. Hello, it gives us more to talk about, right? But that'll happen there. I think in the next video I'll try to start focusing a little more on some of the prospects, where people are slated to go, the teams who might do trades, that kind of thing. I think I might do that for the next video. So if you want that, stay tuned. I'll try to get that in soon. Just trying to cover a little bit more some of the major over umbrella topics right now. So now I'll talk about the NBA a little bit. Not much to say here. The China Basketball Association was trying to get started. There's been setbacks there. Stephen Marbury, who works closely with them, they're trying to find ways to do it without starting another outbreak of things. You can imagine the Chinese government's really concerned about that. And I'm sure, like every other sports league, they want to get going. They need to get going. But this world health crisis right now it takes so much precedence over everything. So you can't just rush into something. And, it's a good thing that they're looking at it hard and trying to figure it out before just being irresponsible and launching into it. Some teams in the NBA are definitely trying to stay in practice. I know there was stuff about the Bucks that, the Bucks are still trying to practice as if they're going to be playing games tomorrow, which, I'm not real sure how the practices are. I mean, you have to be careful about that too. But they're, they had a report out saying that they're definitely trying to stay up to par, their skills and whatnot. So that's the hard thing with the NBA teams right now. Some other news in sports, as you guys seen, Wimbledon. I mean, I was a little surprised by that. Wimbledon canceling. I think it has probably a little bit more to do with how many people work around that scenario rather than the tennis players themselves, because the tennis players themselves probably won't be really affected. I mean, yeah, you're hitting a ball and ball stuff could come off the ball, but that's relatively small. You're across the court from each other, so unless you're like right up on the net. And even then, I mean, I one time was studying to be a tennis player, and other than just shaking the hands and getting right up there on the net, you're really not coming at close contact. But I think of, the ball runners and the refs and the spectators and all the people behind the scenes, the medical people. It's the same kind of thing as other sports, and sooner or later they're going to touch something, and I think they just had to make the call as well too. And being in a country like London where, the whole Europe thing and crossover, it's sad. They had to do it. I mean, it hasn't been done since World War II, but this is interesting time. So, it's something we're all trying to stay safe over. The other thing is, the Olympics being canceled. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but Olympics being canceled, and, they're going to push that back for, as far as they can and try to get that going eventually. The thing I wanted to say about this is I really hope the Olympics can go on. That for all the people that watch it, and it's a global thing, and it would be really nice to be able to, even if that one's later at some point, to get that going. It would be such a good comeback, I think, for the world to have Olympics. So it's nice to see that they're not saying it's done, it's over. So we just got to all do our part, stay safe, hopefully ride this thing out, and it'd be really nice to see Olympics come back. So keep good thoughts about that, and let's try to all do our part so we can have Olympics. Um, and last but not least, if you're liking these videos, if you see something you want me to do better, let me know. Comment, subscribe. Please do that, because the more you guys comment, the more you guys subscribe, the more I know you're interested in what you're interested in. I can start tailoring these videos to certain things that I'm seeing people who want to listen to me talk about sports. I can start putting that in the videos. I know there's not a lot going on right now, but if there's a particular topic that ties into sports that you want me to cover, please do. I'd be happy to do that. So thank you guys again, and see you on the next video.